Here are a bunch of goofballs who believe that the Earth is flat.
I can tell you this, airplanes fly straight and level. That's even an aviation term, straight and level. Airplanes will fly for hours at the same altitude, never dipping their nose down to follow the curve of the Earth. An aircraft on a 12-hour or even 18-hour flight from Portland, Oregon to Seoul, Korea, that would have that aircraft starting at one point and then flying so far around the Earth that it's flying downwards with its nose vertically downwards.
Airplanes maintain a constant altitude based on the air pressure surrounding them. They adjust their pitch if the barometers of the plane detect that the plane is climbing or falling based on air pressure. If the plane flew in a straight line, it would gain altitude as the curvature of the Earth fell away. So they do actually have to pitch their noses downward relative to that hypothetical line. What flat earthers seem to expect, however, is that the nose be pitched downward relative to the horizon. In other words, they seem to think that the nose has to be pointing slightly at the ground in order to maintain a steady altitude. However, this makes no sense because if the nose of the plane is pointed toward the ground, it's going to veer closer to the ground. It's going to lose altitude regardless of whether the Earth is flat or curved.
And then starting to go around the curve of the Earth so that the airplane is now flying upside down. Would have to make that kind of a flight path on a globe, it's such an absurdity.
It would be upside down relative to its original position if it flew a distance of half the globe, but it would still be upright relative to the ground over which it is flying.
So that being said, I come into the true shape of the Earth, the flat Earth. As a skeptic, like most anyone else, I'll tell you my story. My buddy told me about this. He said, Rob, you need to learn about the ice ring. You need to learn that the Earth doesn't move. This globe is garbage.
How come the folks who did the final experiment, who went to Antarctica to see the 24-hour sun, folks who included flat earthers, by the way, didn't see the ice wall on the way there?
And I laughed at him. I said, are you kidding me? I'm not even going to look into that. And he said, that's fine. He said, that's fine. You don't have to look into flat Earth. But until you do, he said, until you do look into flat Earth, you will remain a slave of the Matrix.
Why would the Matrix want me to believe that the Earth is round? What advantage does that grant the Matrix? How does it make me anybody's slave?
Well, the idea of the Earth being a ball is anti-God. It's anti-creation. It's to disconnect you from your true source. It's to make you think that you evolved from pond scum versus were created.
What does the Earth being round have to do with evolution?
People go, well, it's very conceited to think that you were, that we're the center of the universe. That's very, what's the word they use? Not conceited, but arrogant. Very arrogant for humans to think that we're the center of such a big, infinite galaxy.
Who says that the galaxy is infinite? And what does the shape of the Earth have to do with whether it is at the center? This guy seems to think that the Earth being round, evolution, and heliocentrism are all the same thing.
And universe, stop listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? He is just a spokesman. He's not the smartest guy. He's got the dumbest arguments, but he says them with such confidence. And because he's so prominent, people just accept it as truth because it's easy.
Well, why are they pushing this guy if he's not?
I don't think Neil deGrasse Tyson is the sole reason or even a significant reason why most people believe the Earth is round. Do you think that when Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the Earth more than 2,000 years ago, he got the figure he did from listening to mainstream media? Was he drinking the deep state Kool-Aid?
Yeah. So he, we're not in a universe. We're not in a infinite expanding universe.
Well, some scientists think the universe is infinite, some don't. That's not a settled question one way or the other.
The best way to turn someone into a flat earther is teach them the globe model, because the globe model is so ridiculous. I tell people, you're not stupid, it's stupid.
The idea that gravity doesn't exist, which is a common position flat earthers hold, is stupid.
I'm agnostic on it, but the whole Big Bang Theory is completely ridiculous. There's nothing that blows up and turns into everything.
That's not what the Big Bang Theory says. The Big Bang didn't turn into anything. It was just the earliest moment of the expansion of the universe that we still see today.
Yeah, once upon a time there was nothing. It exploded and became everything.
No, there was never a time when there was nothing. At all points in time, at the very least, time exists.
And it expanded outwards. And then lightning struck, created DNA, which turned into an amoeba. That amoeba turned into a tadpole and a frog and a fish. The fish grew legs and lungs, climbed out of the water, found another sexy fish, and turned into a monkey who had a retarded baby that became a human.
I think you're skipping a few steps in between.
Right?
Doesn't matter how many years it takes, I'm never going to go from a fish to a person.
How do you figure? How did you come to this conclusion?
You're not going to adapt that way. It's not possible, but yet this is what they teach to our kids.
This is what they're teaching to our kids.
Do you know what an argument from incredulity is?
I'm pretty sure that all this stuff about the meteors falling from the sky recently, it's all just bullshit. I'm not saying that something didn't happen. I just don't think it's what they're telling us. Now, I know that something did actually happen because I'm from Massachusetts and I could hear the boom on Saturday. Multiple people that I know personally have talked about how after the boom, their whole house was shaking. Now, they're saying that this thing was only 3 feet in diameter. They're saying that it was traveling at 75,000 miles per hour. They say that it fragmented about 40 miles above the Earth. Any of the small remaining pieces landed in the ocean off of the coast of Cape Cod. But how is something that's only 3 feet big visible to thousands of people that all claim to have seen it?
When something is burning up from atmospheric friction, it looks like a big fireball. The disturbance in the air around it is what you see, not the object itself.
There's video of a fireball falling from the sky, but how is it that big of a fireball if it was so small?
How big would you expect a fireball to be? How do you calculate that something going through the atmosphere at several times the speed of sound would only create a tiny fireball that few people could see?
How does something only 3 feet big give off a boom that was heard in multiple states for hundreds of miles?
When something is going faster than sound, the sound waves in front of it all bunch up together into one big boom.
And entering the Earth's atmosphere at 75,000 miles per hour, it would hit the ground in about 2 seconds.
This dude's getting a lot of details of this story wrong. It wasn't 3 feet big, it was 5 feet, and it wasn't moving at 75,000 miles per hour, it was moving at 42,000 miles per hour. And how long it takes to get through the atmosphere depends on the angle at which it's entering. Even if it approached the surface of the Earth straight downward at 90 degrees to the horizon at 42,000 miles per hour, from the Kármán line, which is considered the edge of the atmosphere at 62 miles high, it would still take at least 5 seconds to get through the whole atmosphere. But if the meteor entered at a sharper angle, it could take a lot longer than that.
It's moving so fast, it wouldn't really even be visible. But yet someone happened to have captured this thing on video. It's not even like it's the only one. There's supposedly been like 3 or 4 so far this year.
You got the numbers wrong, and you're not taking the angle of entry into account, so your calculations didn't produce the correct result. That's why you're confused.
Okay, Ethereum. Can you explain to me how gyroscopes on airplanes work? And if Earth is a globe, how would that work? Does it work on a globe?
Gyroscopes on airplanes are just used to show the pilots the angle of the airplane if the horizon isn't visible. Not only would such a device work on either a flat Earth or a round one, it would work even if the plane were nowhere near a planet at all. It would still show the angle of the airplane relative to the angle the gyroscope is maintaining.
How gyroscopes on airplanes work and the globe Earth question. Gyroscopes are one of the biggest challenges to the heliocentric model because they hold orientation regardless of external movement. If Earth were a spinning globe, gyroscopes should detect curvature and rotation. But do they?
Yes, they do. If you just leave a gyroscope on the surface of the Earth, it will look like its angle is changing over time, when in reality it is the Earth moving relative to the angle being preserved by the gyroscope. A pendulum will also preserve angular momentum, which is the first way it was proven that the Earth rotates.
Let's break it down. Hablaka 1. What is a gyroscope and how does it work? Gyroscopes maintain rigidity in space. A gyroscope is a spinning wheel or disc that maintains its orientation regardless of movement around it. This works due to angular momentum, meaning once it starts spinning, it resists external forces trying to change its axis. Airplane gyroscopes are designed to hold level, allowing pilots to fly straight without relying on external references like the horizon. Why gyroscopes are used in navigation? Gyros help aircraft maintain level flight even in low visibility conditions, fog, storms, nighttime. They work based on fixed orientation, not gravity or planetary motion. If the Earth were curving beneath the aircraft, the gyro should detect and compensate for this curvature.
And the gyroscopes do that. They compensate for the movement across the curvature and also the Earth's rotation.
Gyroscopes should theoretically show changes in orientation if Earth is a spinning globe. But do they?
Yes, in fact they do.
The globe Earth problem: no compensation for curvature. The Earth is said to curve 8 inches per mile squared. If a plane flies at a constant altitude on a globe, it should constantly be dipping its nose to compensate for curvature.
And it does dip its nose downward, just not relative to the horizon. It doesn't need to dip its nose toward the ground.
In a long-haul flight, thousands of miles, the aircraft should have to adjust downward significantly to remain level.
Significantly is a relative term. The dip is slight enough that it's pretty hard to perceive.
Yet pilots do not manually adjust for curvature, nor do gyroscopes detect it. Gyroscopes hold level. They do not adjust for a curved Earth.
Yes, they do. If they didn't, the direction of gravity wouldn't need to play any role in the instrument's calculations.
If a gyroscope maintains its original orientation and does not gradually tilt downward, this suggests a level plane rather than a curved one.
It does tilt downward relative to the original direction of flight.
Commercial aircraft fly at consistent altitudes, e.g. 35,000 feet, without needing to continuously compensate for a falling Earth beneath them.
They do actually need to compensate to keep from climbing in altitude. To everyone who helps me out on Patreon, you're a big help. Thanks so much.